Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri is the new film from director Martin McDonagh, whose last film, Seven Psychopaths, I adore. And this movie's about a woman named Mildred Hayes, played by Frances McDormand, who a year ago lost her daughter due to some terrible incidents, and the police have not been able to find the culprit involved. And the fact that there have been no arrests yet urges Mildred to rent out these 3 billboards, kind of threatening the police to actually do something. And this movie is really more about the reaction after those billboards are put up. And as I mentioned earlier, I love Seven Psychopaths. I think that is an excellent movie. I have not seen his first film, In Bruges, but I'm assured that that movie is excellent too, because walking out of this movie, I was in love with it. This movie is fantastic. This movie majorly stands out in 2 ways. Its screenplay. This is one of the best screenplays, if not the best, of the entire year. I'd say it's between 3 movies, Get Out, Lego Batman, and this one, Three Billboards. And Three Billboards, I think it is the best one. Because like any other movie, I assume a lot of people do this too, when the movie starts, you kind of try to think like, okay, maybe I can try to think like where the movie is going to go. And the movie opens up and I'm thinking, alright, knowing that the police need to find the culprit now because Frances McDormand is getting all angry about it, maybe it'll go this, and this. And then it starts to go in that direction, then it changes, and I was like, oh, okay, didn't see that, or that, or that, or that. The reason I love the screenplay so much is because of how unpredictable it is. You can try to call out things that'll happen, but they just aren't going to happen for you that way. The movie is just so clever and intelligent. Martin McDonagh is so good at screenwriting. It's same thing with Seven Psychopaths. That movie has a great screenplay. So does this movie. In fact, I think it's better than Seven Psychopaths. Mainly because I was already engaged with the movie, because I thought maybe it was going to go in the route of police investigating stuff and some dark comedic stuff ensues. And there is some investigating going on, but there's a lot more to it with these characters. And that's another thing that this movie really scores in, is the acting. This film has some fantastic performances, some of the best of this year, in fact. One of them, Frances McDormand as Mildred. She is, in my opinion, the best female performance of the entire year. While she's trying to hold up this strong persona about her, while she's literally kicking teenagers in the balls in front of school, you can tell that there is a real emotional center to her. Though other people might see her as some kind of nutbag for doing the things she does, there is a sanity there. There is a reason for why she does things. And that really shines through with Frances McDormand's performance in this film. I think it's actually her best performance. Of course, there might be one movie that I'm forgetting at the moment, but I think this is her best performance that I've ever seen from her. Also, Woody Harrelson is so good in this movie, because the movie opens up with Mildred's perspective of this character, and you're thinking like, okay, I kind of see where this character is going to go. But the character actually turns out to be much different than originally anticipated, and adding on to that, the character that Sam Rockwell plays, Officer Dixon, his character is kind of more of a corrupt cop who's not very good at his job. He doesn't follow everything by the book. He's pretty racist, and although I just described this character in such a horrible way, his character arc is actually one of the best character arcs of the entire year. In fact, though this is Frances McDormand's movie, you can also make the argument that this is more Sam Rockwell's movie. He was fantastic in this role. Another best performance of the year, like best supporting actor. I'd say this guy right here, he is so good here. Mainly because this character goes through a whole lot than you would probably anticipate from the opening scene that this character has. He goes through so much. There's a great like tracking shot scene with him that is really devastating in some sense. And then you also have moments where he can actually make you kind of laugh, and also scenes where you might be able to empathize with him. And speaking of laughter, this is a movie that is a comedy. There are plenty of laughs to be had here, but it is a dark comedy for sure. So there are plenty of jokes in this movie that out of context, if you kind of said it, it would definitely be seen as you are a bad person for laughing at this. But in the context of the movie, in the context of this clever screenplay, this incredibly intelligent screenplay, it actually kind of works. And even though some of the humor is dark, it is still funny. The execution is well handled. It doesn't come across as insensitive or offensive or anything. It all fits with the story. It also always fits with the setting of this film, this kind of town off in the middle of nowhere in Ebbing, Missouri, where you can tell that this town doesn't really feel like they really need to fit in with other people who try to put on an act or anything. They will say anything, and whatever pops into their head, it'll come out no matter how offensive it might sound. But as I said, it works perfectly for the setting, works perfectly for the movie story that it was trying to tell. And although a lot of people will focus on the fact that the screenplay is so engaging and how the dark sense of humor is used so well, I think what's really important to recognize also is the family drama that they have with Frances McDormand's character of Mildred, how the family, how what's left of it pretty much is affected by her putting up the billboards trying to encourage the police to find her daughter's killer. There is a really great sincerity whenever the family kind of gets together in one room. Because considering that this family isn't the most normal family around, you never really know how the scenes are going to go, especially because the movie has been so unpredictable leading up to these scenes. This movie also has some side characters that I was really into. One of them is an actor whose name I'm forgetting at the moment, but he was the brother in Get Out, and he plays the owner of the billboards that Mildred rents out. He was actually really funny in this movie. He had a couple good scenes, and there's also Sam Rockwell's mother, who is very laugh out loud funny. She almost, like, in every scene stole the show from Sam Rockwell. And then you also have Peter Dinklage, and I was worried because when they brought up his height in the movie, I was thinking like, oh, please don't let this overshadow his character, and it really didn't. It really didn't. I was really glad with that. If I had to have a fault with the acting, I would say Lucas Hedges is definitely the weakest link. Not that he was awful or anything, there's just a few lines of dialogue where when he said it, I was just like, does it sound like he should say that again, though? Like, there's just some moments where it just seemed a little shaky. I loved him in Manchester by the Sea, and he was good here for the most part. It's just that I think maybe one more take, or maybe a different take, would have maybe benefited his performance. Besides that, though, Lucas Hedges is kind of a smaller character, so that doesn't really affect much as far as flaws. If I had to pick anything else, it's really more just nitpicks I had with the ending. Not because the ending is awful, because it really isn't. It actually really does work. But I think mainly because I was so invested with the story and with the characters. When the end of the movie kind of rolled around, I was kind of thinking like, maybe there could have been one more scene where they did something else with this character. But as I mentioned, the movie ended in a way that actually does still work for the movie. So even though there are still some wishes of, well, maybe they could have had something with this character real quick first, I still really adored this film. It's the best screenplay of the whole year. You can bet it's going to win Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars. I'm hoping Frances McDormand wins Best Actress because she is the best actress of the year. Sam Rockwell, I hope he gets a lot of attention because he was fantastic. Woody Harrelson, Peter Dinklage, the other actors, they're so good here. And Martin McDonagh has done it again. In fact, I think this movie's better than Seven Psychopaths. Can't say about In Bruges, but maybe it is. This movie's just so well done that even though I haven't seen In Bruges, I can actually see this being better than it. I'm going to give Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri an A. It has the best screenplay of the year, some of the best acting of the year, despite one shaky performance from Lucas Hedges. It's technically a really well-made film, and the story and dialogue is just so well done that you'll get engaged from the very start all the way to the ending of the film. In fact, you'll be so engaged you might want a little bit more of it when it's over. But if you've seen Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, leave in the comments below what you thought of it, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.